Imagine a college super conference 18 playoff based on current NFL rosters. Who would win? SEC? Group of 5? Let's decide.
So let's continue the conversation of building super college conferences based on current NFL rosters. We're going to the running back position. Let's move it to the Big Ten. All right. Some names pop up here, but still, again, a little bit surprised to see it. Bubba, we'll start with you here in the Big Ten.
I mean, I think there are real tough choices, really tough choices when we get here into the Big Ten, because there are some big, powerful backs. And that's what the Big Ten is known for. Big offensive linemen, big, powerful backs that run it straight up the middle. I'm going to start by giving a shout by a guy who's still peaking, who's doing better, but is just not quite the caliber as the rest of them, and that's Isaac Pacheco. Like Pacheco, I can never say his name right. He's looked great for the Chiefs. He's running like what's the phrase somebody used? He's running like a kid who just got new shoes the other day. He keeps making the most of his efforts, but he's just up against some absolute monsters. And as you said, if we did this last year, if we did this the year before, the undisputed name has to be Zeke. The undisputed name is Zeke, but he's just taken a step back. He didn't look that great. It took him forever to get some reps with New England, who quite frankly needed to spark at offense, and even he couldn't give him. So then it comes down to the two final guys. Jonathan Taylor, one of those awesome Wisconsin running backs that always seems to churn out from Wisconsin, and Saquon Barkley from Penn State. Both these guys are not in the best situations in the NFL, but they are big, straightforward, powerful downhill running backs. It's very, very close, man. I've got to go with Saquon over Taylor, but it's very close. Give me Saquon Barkley. He's going to get paid this year in free agency. Not a lot, because no running back gets paid that much in free agency. But he's going out in free agency. If I'm looking for a running back, that's the guy I want on my team this year, and it's Saquon.
JT, I see you grinning over there. Where are you at on this?
Well, let's first mention a couple that Bubba left off the list. Kenneth Walker III, who I about started to mention earlier, but great running back for Seattle. He stayed healthy this year a lot more and looks phenomenal out there. We talked a little bit earlier about what could have been. That's J.K. Dobbins. He's getting to miss this Ravens run in the playoffs. But, man, when that guy's healthy, he's a phenomenal running back. You hit the other good ones that's out there. You talked a little bit about JT. You talked about Saquon. Zeke doesn't make my list. Zeke hasn't made my list for a while. He's basically just become what's that? The old Thunder guy, the Lindale White that played for USC. He's basically the guy that just dives it in when you get on the 2-yard line. But man, you're not giving Isaiah Pacheco enough love. And I think what we've all got to realize is the running back position has changed so much in the NFL. That big bruiser back, look, and I love him. I love the Saquons of the world. I love that big running back, Derrick Henry, that's just going to run it up the middle. But that's not the running back of today. The running back of today is catching it out there in the flats and running that slant and making those blocks. And there is no one better on this list to me than Isaiah Pacheco. That guy has so much grit. He's got the speed. He's got the hands. He's who I'm going to take all day long on this list. And then number 2 would be Saquon, because I'm not a JT believer. I know JT's had some monster fantasy years and seasons. But when I watch him run, I don't know. There's just something about it. I would take Saquon in number 2 there. But give me Pacheco off this list all day long.
Pacheco. Wow. Did I miss Raheem Mostert? Did he even get mentioned on this conversation?
He didn't know.
Nobody. So I guess he's just a fantasy stud there. That's where we're going to leave it, not in real life.
Injury. Honestly, it's the injuries for me. This has literally been his first injury-free season. I think he's great, but
he's 31. He's 31 and
he gets injured every year. I'm afraid he's going to pull the Aaron Rodgers, have one snap and then tear something, and you're not going to have the running back for the rest of the game.
Yeah, well, I think we're all on the same page here, but I really struggled with the Jonathan Taylor, and maybe that's just my fantasy bias of him being on my team. I really just you feel like he would just take off, especially being there in that situation in Indianapolis, and it just injuries have slowed him down. But what an absolute stud at Wisconsin. But then I just go to Saquon and his massive legs and the ability for him just to keep churning and squatting 700 pounds and mowing people over, and the ability and athleticism just based on that alone, I mean, the dude is an absolute stud. I need him to have like the season that we all expected him to have and show what he was at Penn State. But I'm drafting Saquon, put him on the team.